HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time, and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50HavingItAll and use code 50HavingItAll for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50HavingItAll and use code 50HavingItAll.
At Arizona State University, we offer a wide variety of degree programs online to match all kinds of interests and career aspirations. Programs that are taught by the same notable faculty who teach on campus and designed using innovative technology to improve learning outcomes and equip you for post-graduation success. That's why 87% of ASU online graduates indicated they were promoted at work or received an increase in salary after earning their degree. Find your program at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Having It All podcast. My name is Matthew Bivens, and I am feeling so revitalized. I'm feeling charged up. I'm feeling incredibly excited because this is the first episode of the brand new season of the podcast. And I got to say, I spent the past 6 weeks or so in a state of just being with myself, a lot of reflecting about the show, a lot of planning, a lot of thinking, a lot of being, and not a ton of doing. And I think that because I got into this space where I just started thinking about what's the purpose of this? What do I want to create from this show? It really has brought me to this place right now where I'm so incredibly excited to be cranking out this content and be sharing this message with you all about creating and living an abundant, loving life, and truly about having it all and what that means for you. And so, I sought a lot of feedback in the past 6 weeks as well. I wanted to know, what did people like about the podcast? What did people want to see change? What did people want to see different? And one piece of feedback in particular I got really stuck on, and it came from a gentleman who said that when he first started listening to my show, he was excited by the premise of the topics that I would dive into. He enjoyed learning and thinking about, how you can create the life that you want and how you can really tap into your personal greatness and how you can heal and grow and transform yourself. He loved it. But what he didn't love about my show was that he felt I would build up this story, right? I would make my case for why something is powerful or important. But then on the back end, I wouldn't necessarily deliver with the tangible, concrete to-dos. I didn't give those action items. So, here's how you can live an amazing life. Do this, this, and this, and boom, now your marriage is going to be, resurrected. Or boom, now your career is going to take off. Do these things, and yeah, that's what it's going to do for you. And I received that feedback, and I really sat on it, and I couldn't get it out of my head. And honestly, it kind of put me in a state of paralysis, because I started to really evaluate what I had been doing with the show, and that little voice, that little ego voice just sat on my shoulder and just talked about, just basically told me that what I had been doing wasn't good enough, that I was leaving people hanging, that I was a tease, and it was insidious. And so I absolutely appreciate that feedback, and I appreciate the lesson that I learned from it. And I appreciate that experience of going inward and really, seeing that those little voices, those insidious voices are absolutely inside me. And sometimes they're loud, sometimes they chirp. However, coming out of some meditations and some just brainstorm, right? Those being sessions, not doing, just being. I realized a few things. I realized that what I love about this show are two things. One, it's the vulnerability. I love the fact that this is a platform where I can come and practice being vulnerable and sharing with you real things that I am experiencing on my personal journey to having it all. And what I love about that is from all of the feedback and all of the emails and the people that I meet up with who are listeners of the show, you all love that too, because we're all human. And we go through different experiences. We are faced with different circumstances, but we experience the same emotions. And so I connect so powerfully when I'm hearing another person talking about a story where they're afraid, where they're paralyzed by fear, where they're frustrated, where they're insanely self-critical, where they have doubts, where they downplay their abilities. I connect with that because I have been there. And that's something that I continue to work on every day in myself. So I love this podcast as a platform for me to express those things, express those feelings, share my vulnerability, and for you to receive and learn from it, and then also express and share your vulnerability too, because that's what I receive from you all every week. Emails and stories where you talk about those experiences in your life where you're experiencing your breakdowns and you get vulnerable. I absolutely freaking love that. And this is kind of like a second and third thing I love about this show is the boldness. It's the freaking boldness. The boldness to move in the face of your fears. Because what goes along most of the time when I'm hearing these stories of vulnerability and when I'm sharing them myself, what's typically tied right to the tail end of that is some bold freaking action. Somebody is doing something that scares the heck out of them. Terrifies them. That thing that had paralyzed them for so long, they're doing it and they're taking massive action. And because of that massive action, they're experiencing shifts. They're experiencing transformations in their life. They're experiencing shifts in their mindset, in their paradigms, how they look at life. And as a result, they're getting different results in their life. Different things are happening in their relationships. Different things are happening with their relationship towards themselves. Different things are happening in their careers. They're experiencing the abundance. They're experiencing the love. And so when I was just reflecting on that feedback I received from the gentleman that I leave people hanging and I don't necessarily give you all the action items, the specific things, I said to myself, I came to this place where I said, that's not necessarily what this show is about. There are a lot of shows out there that are going to give you blueprints. Do these things and you will get these results.
HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50HavingItAll and use code 50HavingItAll for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50HavingItAll and use code 50HavingItAll.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
But when it comes to having it all, when it comes to experiencing more abundance and love, in those 6 F's, in that faith, family, friends, fitness, finance, and fun, there isn't always a specific set of instructions for you to get to the place you want to be. And I think that that's a great thing. And I think that when, for myself, when I've gone to seek out the advice or the wisdom or the insights from somebody who's, 5 steps beyond where I want to be, and I'm saying, show me how to get there, I'm many times am expecting a complicated response. Well, you got to do A, and before you do A, you need to make sure you've got 1, 2, and 3 lined up, and then you got to execute A in a very certain way to get to point B. Once you get to point B, you only have a finite amount of time until you can execute again to get to C. Otherwise, if you don't execute right, you're going to fall back to A, and you got to restart the whole process over. I come from a marketing and business background, and that's how it is. If you aren't consistent with publishing the content, if you don't have all the SEO keywords right, if you don't make sure that you're putting in these calls to action, then all your efforts are going to be for naught, and you got to start all over. So that's kind of the context that I have. However, what I have experienced, what I have witnessed, what I have been told, and what I've had shared with me is that creating that abundant, loving life, creating those massive results in your life, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple because so often it comes down to a choice. I believe so many things in this world are binary, right? You could choose this or you could choose that. And in the case of truly experiencing that love and abundance, it comes down to choosing love. It comes down to choosing health, to choosing high energy environments, to choosing to be around people who uplift you. Because again, things are binary, right? There's health and there's lack of health. There's higher energy, there's lower energy. There's things that empower you and things that disempower you. There's things that move you forward and things that move you back. There's things that toxify your body and things that cleanse your body and your mind and your spirit. And so what I have found when I go back and I think about the shifts that I've made in my life and I think about the conversations I've had with my guests and I think about the emails that you all have sent me, what I end up seeing, what is revealed to me is typically a pattern of choosing higher energy over lower energy, a pattern of choosing love over fear. And there's not a blueprint to do that. There are some things that we can talk about in terms of how you can shift your perspective and how you can work on adopting new beliefs and how you can set yourself up to be able to choose love over fear when you're placed in the circumstance, when you're sitting in the fire, when that thing that terrifies you is staring at you. There are definitely things you can do to help. But what it comes down to is being in that moment when your spirit is ready to move. And sometimes you're just not ready to move. But you'll know it when you are. You'll know it when you are because it's almost as if something else is acting. Something else is moving your muscles or making you say that thing. I can imagine most of us have been in a situation where maybe it's a classroom, maybe it's a boardroom, maybe it's in a conversation with peers or friends or something, and you just want to speak up, but you're terrified to. You just want to say that thing that's on the tip of your tongue, but you're so scared at the consequence, what's going to happen when you say that. But then all of a sudden, you blurt it out. And you're like, oh, where did that come from? That's what I've experienced so many times. You get to that moment where that fear and that anxiety and you're shaken, maybe literally or figuratively, but you're terrified. And then something pulls you into that fear and you embrace it and you step into it and you say that thing or you do that thing or you take that leap. There's not necessarily a blueprint for that. And so, as we kick off this new season of the show, I am not going to say, I'm going to give you the blueprint to creating an abundant, loving life. Instead, what I'm going to do are give you guidelines. Things that have worked in my life, have worked with my clients, have worked in my community and the people who I'm surrounded with who have exercised the same things. And they've done it in their own way. They've done it sometimes in their own order. But having these things tends to work. An example of this would be a personal mission statement. An example of this would be relationship standards for your innermost circle, your outer circle, your spouse, having standards for those things. An example would be knowing your values. What do you value? What does it mean to you? Understanding the roles that you play in life. An example might be when you get into a new project or a new sort of business venture or something that you get very clear on the result you want, why you're doing it, and then you create your action plan. Those types of things help you to be able to choose love in the face of fear when you are strengthened by knowing who you are, by knowing what you're about, by being very clear on what you're playing for, right? Those types of things help, but it's not a blueprint. And so as I kind of had my little realization, it really emboldened me to be able to come here and say that and share that, this podcast is about making bold moves. It's about taking massive action. It's about doing those things day in and day out. They're going to get you to where you want to be. It's about turning your lens, turning the glass inward, looking at yourself and asking yourself, who am I being that is creating the results that I'm experiencing in my life? Who am I being to attract the type of partners I continue to attract? Who am I being to create the type of business or finance or wealth or lack thereof that I'm creating? Who am I being so that my body is showing up in this certain stage of health or unhealth, maybe dis-ease? Who am I being? That's what I want to do with this show. Because as we turn the lens inward, as we direct our energy into who we are being and explore our relationships to ourselves, other people, and life, we realize that we have the power to create the life that we want. It's not external. Nobody gives you that power. We have it. It's within us. And it begins with how you're showing up in your own life. How are you showing up with yourself? What are those conversations you're having with yourself when you are in your secrecy, when no one's around? Those conversations are very revealing. And there's ways to shift those conversations. That's what I'm going to talk about. How are you showing up in your relationships? Are you honoring the agreement that you've made when you stepped into your relationship? Did you make an agreement? Have you created standards, and are you abiding by your standards? If you are, cool. What are you creating from that? What's the result? If you're not, maybe let's take a look at as to why the things you're creating you aren't enjoying. Maybe you violated some sort of standard. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to talk about things like a mission statement and a bigger purpose and your big why, because when you have things like that, it helps to point you in that direction and it steers you towards exactly what you want to end up becoming. And it's great because I've mentioned these things on the show, but they are so worth revisiting again, taking a look at from a different angle and helping you to do and create these things so that you can ultimately have that abundant, loving life. So you can say that, man, I am truly creating and experiencing abundance in my finances, and I'm loving it. I love who I'm being in my financial role. I'm creating abundance in my relationships, in my friendships, and I love how I'm showing up for my friends. I have an abundance of fun in my life. I get to experience childlike play often, and I love it. I love how I'm showing up in that space. That's why ALL is an acronym, Abundant Loving Life. And so one of the things that I absolutely love and will continue to talk about on this show is the idea of your beliefs. Because I think all of this comes down to beliefs. And when I kicked this show off so many months, years ago, I remember doing a little bit of research before I finally launched. And I was just interested in the name, Having It All. And I loved that when I went online, there's tons of people, of course, online, you get opinions from all over the place. But I would just see comments and blog articles and podcasts and all sorts of stuff that says you can't have it all. You cannot have it all. And what has totally inspired me since publishing episode 1 is that there are hundreds of thousands of you who say, yes, you can. And I love that. That lights me up. That creates a fire within me that propels me and motivates me and fuels me because so many of you have said, yes, you can have it all. I'm going to define what all means to me, and I'm going to go create that. And because you all have adopted that belief and you've repped it, or maybe you're just flirting with the idea of adopting that belief, it doesn't matter. It's awesome. Because you're doing that, you're going to create that. You just keep it up. Just keep flowing. Keep moving forward. And I am reminded of something that I heard in a podcast I was listening to last week that I wrote down because I really wanted to share it with you all. And it ties in so beautifully with the concept of having it all. So I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, which is The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. And if you haven't heard of it, go check it out. His show is always at the top of iTunes charts in self-help and I think health. But it's called School of Greatness. And he does interviews with some really amazing, interesting people. And he does some solo episodes where he just shares his own stuff. And I tune in every week or so and just absorb. It's me sharpening my saw. It's me just learning from other smart people. So I was listening to an episode, and it was called Choose What Lights You Up. And it was a little snippet. It was like a 7-minute snippet of a conversation he was having with Scooter Braun. And Scooter Braun is talent management person. He's the guy who's credited for discovering like Justin Bieber, and he's worked with Usher and artists like Ariana Grande. I hope that's how you say her name. I don't know. But, he's a guy who works with artists and celebrities, and yeah, he's a talent dude. And so on this episode of the School of Greatness podcast, he's talking about his story, and he's sharing how, he was going to Emory here in Atlanta, and he was sort of torn between pursuing what he was working on the side with his music production and different things like that, and going to school. And he ends up going into his guidance counselor's office. And the guy basically says, "Hey, Scooter, we got to get you on this path, this right path, because right now you're headed towards flunking out, and we can't have that. This is Emory. This is a legit institution. We can't have people who are just messing around and dropping out. So we need you to get on the path. And when are we going to do that?" And Scooter had this moment of being like, you know what? This is not for me. I'm choosing something different. And he decides to leave the school. And he says next in the episode, this is really what stuck with me. He said, "What's the point of going after anything that's reasonable? What's the point in that? There's nothing gratifying in that." And when he said that in the episode, I was driving at the time. I literally paused it because it was ringing inside my head. What's the point of going after anything that's reasonable? And it totally reminded me of you all, the people out there who are saying having it all is possible. Why? Because there are so many people, probably the majority of people, who say that is unreasonable. It is unreasonable to think you can have it all. It is unreasonable to attempt to have it all. It is irresponsible to even go after it. And I love that. I love it.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
So I was so fired up thinking about that because it really goes back to this idea of beliefs. Beliefs, what you're experiencing in life, the things that you manifest, the things that you create, the results that you create, they stem from a fundamental belief that you have and that you hold. And I like to think of beliefs like clothing. You can throw on a t-shirt, wear it around for a little bit. If it suits you, great. If it doesn't, take it off. Beliefs are the same way. You wear on a belief, you walk around, it might serve you for a little while, and then after a while you think, man, this belief is beginning to feel uncomfortable, or it's starting to smell kind of funky, or I just don't dig the way that I look in it. Let me take this belief off and try something else on. When I was a kid, I used to, I live here in Atlanta and I grew up in Atlanta, and winters are cold. But when I was a kid, I used to just run around in shorts and a short sleeve shirt all the time. I had this belief that it wasn't cold. And as I got older, I wanted to continue to hold on to that belief that it wasn't cold. So I would do the same thing. I'd be in high school and I'd roll in with my soccer shorts on and short sleeve shirt, and my teachers would look at me like, what are you doing? But I had this belief that, no, it's cool. Maybe it was a belief that it was manly to not wear jackets and sweatshirts and stuff. Sooner or later, that belief didn't serve me, and I picked up a new belief that, hey, maybe it is a little bit chilly. Maybe I need to throw on a jacket. And I was able to toss the old belief and adopt the new belief. And so what we do here on this show and what we're talking about with Having It All is we all have this belief that creating abundance, living in abundance, experiencing love is possible. And we don't have to choose to experience abundance and love in just one aspect of our lives. When you look at the 6 F's, you don't have to just pick one. You don't have to say, all right, I got 6 areas where, all right, I could pick abundance and love in just one. So, all right, maybe it's in my finances. All right, great. Let me experience an abundance of finances because that's what I say is most important. And I believe that I can only have it in one area. So finance, that's what it is. Everything else, sorry, you're going by the wayside. My faith and my spirituality, not happening. My family, nope, sorry, I'm not going to see you very often because I'm putting my time into my faith. My friends, yeah, what are those? Work friends? Okay, cool. Outside of work, I haven't had a friend since college. My fitness, it's okay. I can make all this money and spend the money to reclaim my health. That's fine. I'll just do that. Fun? Well, fun for me is making a bunch of money, so I'm going to stick to that. I love it. It's just a belief. It's just a belief. And so what I love, going back to that Scooter Braun quote, what's the point of going after anything that's reasonable? You get to ask that of yourself. And it can be in so many different things. Like maybe reasonable for you or unreasonable for you is experiencing it all, having abundance and love. For me, that's exactly what it is. You know what? I think to myself, it would be reasonable for me to select a few areas where I'm happy and I'm having all the things that I want and creating and experiencing all the things that I want, and to have a few areas where I'm not and I just settle. That would be reasonable for me because that's what I see so often. That's how I grew up. That's what I was taught by my parents. I was taught that you work 50 hours a week, and you do that every single week. And then at a certain point, you stop, and then you go back and you do the things that you've always wished you wanted to do. And you neglect your health along the way, and that's okay because got to pay the bills, got to stack out for retirement, got to pay for college, and you just do that. That to me was reasonable. What's unreasonable is everything that I'm doing right now. And it excites me, and it fires me, and it lights me up. So what's the point of doing anything that's reasonable? What's the point of playing for mediocrity? You don't even have to try to play for mediocrity. You just walk around and do what other people are doing, and okay, there. I'm playing for something bigger. I'm interested in doing things that are unreasonable. And maybe it's a state of being for you, or maybe it's something physical. Maybe you're making $30,000 a year, and you're like, you know what? I want to make $30,000 a week, and I want to do it while I'm sleeping. Go for it, because what's the point of going after anything that's reasonable? Or maybe for you, it's, I want to have amazing, amazing relationships with my kids, with my friends, with my family, with my spouse. I want our romantic life, I want our sex life to be so much more fulfilling, so much more fun, so much more spiritually nourishing than it is right now than it was 20 years ago. Go for it. Create that. Build that bond and connection. Because the reasonable person would say, well, the fire goes down after you get married. After the honeymoon's over, then it's just downhill. Man, I can't tell you how many people I love were feeding me nonsense like that around marriage and around kids. And don't even get me started about the kid conversations. People saying, say goodbye to your sleep. Oh, you've got a daughter. You better get a gun, right? Just feeding me all of their beliefs. When here I am saying, nope, I'm going to do things a little bit unreasonable. I'm going to love on my wife and support my daughter in being everything that they want to be. So I'm going off on a little tangents and everything now, but bringing it back, this show is about having it all. It's about experiencing abundance. The abundance that is already all around us, simply tapping into it, experiencing that abundance and love, being love, giving love so freely, just with a heart and an air of generosity, just giving love and being open to receiving love fully, receiving love in however it is shows up, because it shows up in some very interesting ways sometimes. So being abundant, being loving in all the different areas of life. And I like to focus on 6. 6 works for me. Some frameworks have 7 or 8 or 10 or 4 or 2. 6 works for me. Experiencing abundance and being love in my faith. Really examining, what does it mean for me to fully trust and to fully surrender to something greater than myself? And faith isn't religion. Those are different. Faith is just that connection with spirit, with source, with yourself, and cultivating that. Experiencing abundance and love in my family. Having rich, fulfilling relationships with the people within my family. Allowing them to be who they are going to be and loving them the entire way. Holding that space, holding a powerful space for them. Showing up powerfully. And in my friendships, just an abundance of rich, deep, fulfilling friendships. Those people that you can count on, that inner circle, that ride or die crew. And it doesn't need to be dozens, hundreds. It's a few. But the richness of that relationship, the love that you feel for one another, that's the abundance. And you can sprinkle in there, whether it's within family or friends, the relationship with a significant other, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, husband, wife, partner, whatever it is, whatever you choose to call it, whatever you want to label it. Truly experiencing the abundance of love that is available to all of us. Loving that person unconditionally. Supporting them in their greatness. Holding them to the standard that they wish to be held to. Employing a balance of courage and consideration. Having an abundant mentality and experiencing the love in your fitness. That there's no limit to your fitness. There's no limit to your health. Being proactive, taking back your health, taking control of your health, understanding that so many of the things that we experience in our body and so many things that we create in our body start with our mind, start with our thoughts, start with our beliefs, how we handle stress in life, our ability to flow, our ability to tap in. So loving yourself, loving your body, being grateful for your body, thanking your body, and experiencing an abundance of healing, an abundance of power, an abundance of health. And with your finances, just being able to tap into the universal abundance and wealth and money and prosperity that is around us. It is amazing. Today, you turn on the channel. I love watching ESPN. And whenever I turn on ESPN, I'm hearing about $50 million contracts that this NBA player signed for 1 year. I'm hearing about a baseball player who signs a 4-year contract for $250 million. And here I am thinking, at times, the world is not abundant. Are you kidding me? I get to drive in this amazing Atlanta traffic, a sea of red lights, and I could sit there and say, man, if all of these cars are worth, let's just say $5,000, how much money is sitting here in this 1 mile stretch of land? It's incredible. It's unfathomable. And so being able to tap into that and loving who you are being as it flows into you. And in your fun, in that play area of your life, in those areas where you get excited and you get lit up and you do things simply for the enjoyment of the act and for nothing else. Having that in your life. Having a number of different outlets for you to experience that childlike play in whatever form, and feeling comfortable expressing yourself in whatever form that it wants to be. No judgment. And being bold and connecting with other people who might share those interests, that you can experience that love and create that community and just feel that bond around that shared thing. That's what having it all is about for me. I believe that there are many of you who share the same belief that I have in having it all, creating an abundant, loving life. And I am, like I said, so excited to just be kicking off this show, brand new season, bringing you some really amazing, powerful new episodes. And I'm taking it up a notch. I'm putting it out there right now that I'm going to step up my vulnerability and my authenticity. And I'm going to be sharing things about myself and my life and my experiences and the lessons I've learned in some areas that I haven't really dived into before. And we're gonna get in it. We're gonna get dirty. We're gonna get messy, and we're gonna heal some things. And I love it. Absolutely love it. So share with me, connect with me. I want to know what you want to hear. The show is for you, right? The show is for you. So tell me what you want to hear. I am reachable. I'm accessible. mattcbivens@gmail.com. It's my email address. I answer all my emails. Send me a message. Let me know what having it all means to you. Share with me. Let's keep this thing rolling. And I look so forward to hearing your feedback on this episode and all the next ones that are coming up. My name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you having it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.